tell me why the current grand jury system doesn't work.
Just to kind of give an example, if we were to file a true bill, which is entering your criminal case into a common law court, okay, it's called a true bill. If we were to put that in there and one word be wrong, as an example, they can throw it out, you know. Even on Thursday nights now, John Jurors is the founder of the National Liberty Alliance, and on Thursday nights now he's holding calls on Thursday nights, I think from like 5 to 7. And that is going to be strictly for people's cases. They want to know, well, what about my civil case? What about my criminal case? What do I file? Where do I start? Who do I talk to? What do I do? When you get into court, that call is what all that is about. People feel free to call in, ask their questions. You'll get a lot of answers that way.
For a fact, I had the lady and man at one of our Friday night meetings. Their son was murdered by a cop in Limestone County, by a deputy. The grand jury had the deputy come before the grand jury and they got his side of the story. That's the only side of the story they got. The parents were never brought before the grand jury. Their side of the story was never heard.
Were they witnesses to the homicide?
Yes, they were right there when the deputy killed their son. They were standing within, from me to you. Their son was being held down on the ground by 2 other people, and the deputy reached down and shot him in the chest twice. So we have a murdering deputy in our county, and but the Texas Rangers were called in to do an investigation on this case. They never interviewed the parents. They never interviewed the 2 people that were holding the kid on the ground. The grand jury never interviewed the 2 people that were holding the kid on the ground. We just had one of our deputies shoot the nose off of a motorist about a month ago in our county. The county has totally covered this up. And I know this is a fact because the man was standing at our meeting Friday night where they had glued his nose back on. Anyway, it's crazy what's going on. We don't have a way to hold our public servants accountable nowadays because they've insulated themselves because they're bringing revenue into these courts. And the grand jury, and I'll tell you another story. I have a business out in Limestone County. One of my customers came in one day, real nice guy. We just got to talking about the economy and the president and everything that's going on. And somehow we got on the deal of grand jury. And he said, by the way, I'm on the grand jury, I think he said in Falls County, which is right over here a little ways. And I said, oh, that's great. How do you get on the, how do you get to be a member of the grand jury? He said, well, you kind of got to be a friend of the court. And I was like, wow, isn't that, you know, I didn't say that out loud, but my head was like, wow. Well, I was at the appraisal district the other day in Limestone County, and I was challenging their validity of their tax, which would start to find out everything that's going on in this government's run by fraud. So, I don't know how we got on the subject, but I said, I could probably afford a building like this if I wasn't paying all these taxes, which I pay a lot of. I pay like $3,000 a year property tax. And they said, we didn't buy this building, we're renting it from Larry Warnock, which that's the guy that's on the grand jury. Imagine that.